everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I have that I will probably never read. So basically I was just thinking about all of the books that I've gotten in the past, like I would say 5 years, that I've just kind of picked up randomly, especially from library sales, which I tend to pick up a lot of books that I'm not super interested in. It's kind of like a very impulse buy sort of situation, especially with library sales because they're so cheap. It ends up being like $1 or $2 for a book. So I can kind of just pick up a few books and not really be into them or not really want to read them, but just kind of be like, oh, this is interesting in the moment, so let's just pick it up. And it tends to happen quite a bit, so I try to stay away from the library sale section, but I do have a few here that are just a mixture of different books that I don't think I'm ever going to get to, but I mean, I might in the future, who knows? And I'm also kind of trying to do this video to hopefully get myself into possibly reading these books or having more excitement towards these books like that I had when I bought them. So the first few books that I have are ones that I will probably definitely never read, so this is kind of books that I'm just like, I don't think I'm ever going to read these ever, even if I try to convince myself to read them. And they are a few of the Dave Eggers books that I have. I don't know if that's upside down. Okay, it's not. And I have Your Fathers, Where Are They? And The Prophets, Do They Live Forever? And then I also have Zaytoon. And then I also have A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius. And I got all of these at library sales, so these were probably 50 cents each, because at my library all paperbacks are 50 cents each. I did like two of his books, which were A Hologram for the King and You Shall Know Our Velocity, and I read those for one of my English college classes. And so I just picked up these ones when I saw them at the library, and I don't think I'll ever get to these. I don't know. It's a very maybe situation, but it would definitely be a weird mood I would have to be in, because I don't normally read these kind of books. But I really liked the other ones for some reason, and it's so weird because I listened to Lewis Watson's music when I was reading his two other books, and now whenever I listen to Lewis Watson, I just literally only think of Dave Eggers. It's so weird. It's just like every time I'm like transported back to when I was like 19 years old reading his books, and just, I don't know, it's weird. It gives me a very strange, gratifying sense of nostalgia. And these books just don't have that for me at this moment, so I don't think I'm ever going to get to these ones. It will be a miracle and a half if I ever get to these books. The next book I have is kind of random because I've never read any of this person's books ever in my life. And this is kind of like a random, like, I think collection of novellas, or it's just, I actually really don't know what this is. And it's Fairest by Marissa Meyer, and I've like literally never read any of Marissa Meyer's books, but I did plan on reading them at one point in my life, and I just haven't gotten to them yet. And I don't really know what this is, but I saw this at my library book sale, and I thought it was really cool looking, and I'm like, oh, I know Marissa Meyer. I think I'm gonna read her books at some point in my life, maybe. And yeah, so I just have this book randomly. I honestly don't know what it is. It's so short. I could probably read it in like a day. And it's like so gorgeous. Like, what the heck? Like, have you ever seen something so pretty? And yeah, it's gorgeous. And I just had to pick it up because I think it was like $1 or $2 at my book sale. So it wasn't that expensive, but I don't think I'm ever going to get to this one. And yeah, that's just all I have to say about this book. The next book is actually a sequel to a book that I really did like a few years ago, and then I got this sequel and I can't exactly remember what happened in the first book, so I don't know if I'm ever going to get to this one because I don't really want to reread the first book, and that is Ice Like Fire by Sara Raasch, and she wrote Snow Like Ashes, and I read that book a few years ago. And I liked it a lot. I think I gave it a 4 stars, so that's not that bad. And I figured that since I kind of liked the first book, I would get the second book, and I haven't really found the time to get to this series. It is kind of a bigger book, so I'm just like, are there books that I want to read more than this one? But I do think that I want to get to this one at some point, but I don't think it's going to be within this year. It may be next year, I'm not sure. but I feel like the more I put this book off, the less I want to read it. So the next book that I have is kind of sacrilege. It's kind of like awful that I haven't read this book yet for multiple reasons. First of all, I've had this book since I think I was like 19 years old, maybe 20, I don't remember. That was a few years ago. And then also, this author has my first name, so I've always wanted to read her books. I've always been interested in them. So I just don't know why I haven't read it. It's The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and I know that this is being turned into a movie. I'm on the fence on whether I want to see the movie or not. It doesn't exactly look like my kind of movie anymore, but this book is also extremely heavy for a paperback. I have no idea why it's so heavy. It just is. And I just don't think I'm ever going to get to this book. I have tried to read it. I've tried to start it. I think I've gotten, yeah, okay, I do have a bookmark in here. I am on page 4. And also this is a bookmark that I made based off of the Wither series. I don't remember what it's called. But anyway, haven't gotten to this book. I used to absolutely freaking love dystopian. Like, that was my genre. That was my jam. But now I'm not really into it as much, and I don't really think I'm going to like this book. It sounds interesting, but I'm never drawn to it. I'm never like, oh, let's pick up this book and actually read it, you know? Maybe on an audiobook I would like it. I don't know. This might be an audiobook kind of book for me, so I don't think I'm ever going to read the physical edition, but possibly in the future, maybe I'll read the audiobook. The next book that I have is sort of random and one that I'm just kind of always been on the fence about. I've tried to read this a few times and I just don't know what it is. I thought maybe it's because I kept getting it from the library, and sometimes I find it hard to read library books. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. So I got it in a physical edition from a library sale. I know, so many of these books are library sale books. But that is These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. And I have no idea if I'm actually going to like this book. I do love the cover though. It's like such a beautiful cover. It's like that total old school like throwback YA sort of cover. And I love it. I'm living for it. However, I don't know if I'm actually going to read this, because I think I wanted to read this back when I was reading Across the Universe by Beth Rivas. And I don't think that I'm really into this kind of book anymore. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of been into sci-fi. I've kind of been wanting to like read some sci-fi recently, so maybe I'll end up reading this and really liking it. I do love the cover, as I said before. But yeah, I just don't really know if I'm going to end up reading this book. I don't know. I'm not like, I don't think it's going to happen in the next year. It might, but who knows? I don't know. I'm so like lukewarm on all of these books that I'm just like, I don't know. The next book I have is actually one I've tried to read a few times. It's quite a big book, and that is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. And I'm currently 109 pages into this book. It's technically a reread because I did read it back when I was about 17 or 18 years old. And I was a senior in high school. And I did read the first 2 books when I was in high school. I had a really love-hate relationship with this series. I don't like Clary, but I do like all the other characters and I love the story. So I was like, okay, this is from my library book sale. I'm going to try it out again because I know this is the book that I need to read. And I really want to read The Dark Artifices because I think that sounds really cool. I think it's set in California, which I love any book set in California. And so I'm like, okay, you have to like suffer through the rest of Clary's series, get that all done, and then you can go on to the other 3 books, I don't know what it's called. And then you can finally get to The Dark Artifices, because obviously you have to read all the other books to get to like the last series or whatever it is. And I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I might just end up like spoiling myself for all the other books and just reading The Dark Artifices because I've heard such good things about them. They sound right up my alley. And I'm just not interested in this book anymore. Like, I don't feel the need to suffer through hating Clary to read these books. You know, just like, they're such big books and it'd be such a huge chunk of my time that I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth it to me, honestly, at this point in my life. So we'll see if I ever get to this book. I doubt that I will, even if it's just to read The Dark Artifices, but yeah. City of Glass. The next two books are part of a series, and I don't know why I bought these, honestly. I think it's just because I was super like, I'm a nosy person, I want to know what happens. And I didn't really like the first book. I think I gave it a 3 stars, but I decided to buy the 2 other books anyway, and that's Rebel Spring and Gathering Darkness, both by Morgan Rhodes. And I'm not a big fan of the series. I think I'm like 69 pages into that first book, into the second book, I mean. And I don't think I'm ever going to read this series. I really don't. I love the idea of this series and I love the characters, but I feel like the execution is totally lacking. And I just don't think that I'm ever going to get to this series. I don't think I have the time for it. I don't think I have like the drive to read it or like the want. So, it's kind of a lukewarm fantasy series for me, so I don't think I'm ever going to read it, but who knows? This whole video is to try to persuade me to read these books, and it's not exactly working, but we'll see. And the very last book is definitely going to be a little disappointing for some people. And it's definitely disappointing for me because I was super hyped about this book. I bought it the first day it came out from my local bookstore because I'm like, let's, you know, support local bookstores, let's support this author. I want to buy this book in person, I don't want to buy it on Amazon, whatever. So I was super hyped for it. I was really, really excited. It sounded right up my alley, like something I would totally like. And that is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This book absolutely, like, the fact that I'm not going to read this book, or the fact that I just, like, am not interested in it is heartbreaking, honestly. Like, I am this is the one book in this pile that is just, like, I desperately wish that I was interested in it, that I liked it, and all that other stuff, because it's just, like, I wanted to read this book and absolutely love it, but unfortunately, I think I got, let's see, I got about 100 pages in, and I still don't like it. I still don't like the voice, I don't like the characters, I'm just not invested at all. It just, I have no, like, bond with this book, unfortunately. I'm hoping to read his other books and see if I like those better, but so far, 100 pages in, I don't like it. And I'm just like, meh. I feel like both of the characters are so flat and kind of hollow, and I just don't really like it so much, but I'm hoping to read his other books, and I'm hoping that I'll like those, so hopefully it's not a total wash. Alright, so those are all of the books that I own that I may not ever read, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, I have a bunch of links down below for Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, and you can follow me on there, add me as a friend, and I will definitely add you back. And once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!